And we should be live. Okay, my name's Dale. This is my little channel called the LaGrange Cafe. I'll explain why I called it that later on, but right now we're just going to jump right into a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that's financial surveillance and the ability to do certain things when you have that financial surveillance. So, if you're not up to date on what's happened recently regarding the truckers in Canada and their accounts being frozen, both bank accounts and cryptocurrency wallets, um, I don't know how you found this channel because most everybody that I talk to knows about this. Now, what I did not know was that this was all instigated by a private class action lawsuit from Ottawa residents. This part of the story I did not know. So, fed up Ottawa residents win secret suit to freeze the crypto wallets funding Canada's Freedom Convoy protesters. Now, number one, a secret suit means that those that were charged in the litigation of this had no idea they were being charged. So that means they did not have the opportunity to represent themselves. I believe that is a key ingredient to a democracy. On with the story. Yesterday, a group of Ottawa residents won a private class action lawsuit to freeze at least 146 cryptocurrency wallets and bank assets tied to the main organizers of Canada's Freedom Convoy in a bid to staunch funding for the ongoing demonstrations. Known as a Mariva injunction, the lawsuit was filed by Ottawa residents, names included, blah, blah, blah. The hearing was held in private without public notice or access. Lawyer Paul Champ, who represents the residents bringing the suit, told the Star. Lee earlier this month won an injunction which barred protesters from honking their horns in downtown Ottawa. You know, one has to wonder about the provenance of Lee's involvement. That's speculation on my part, but one has to wonder. The suit is unprecedented for the country as it's the first time in Canada that a Mariva injunction has ever been used to freeze cryptocurrency, says Matthew Burgoyne, crypto and blockchain focused partner at Calgary based McLeod Law. He added that the injunction was a powerful legal remedy which can have significant consequences for a defendant. The defendants weren't given advance notice of the suit. Now this is interesting stuff. Champ, who hired a private investigator and cryptocurrency expert, found that the organizers' crypto movements outpaced the government's attempts to track them. Hired a private investigator and cryptocurrency and expert. Oh, I gotta wonder just how private that investigator is and who Champ is connected with. Just gotta wonder because we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into why this is so important to me. Why I see connections being made. So one of the warning bells. I don't know much about cryptocurrency at all. I really don't. I don't know much about NFTs, cryptocurrency. I know about mechanisms and structures. That's what I know. So when the CEO of Kraken says, "Get your coins out of centralized exchanges," it gets my attention. Even as somebody who does not understand the overall mechanisms and structures of crypto. I understand peer-to-peer transactions, and then I also understand centralized exchanges that have agreed to comply with certain rules, structures, mechanisms handed down by financial authorities. So I get the difference between the two, but I will point to the main structure that is used by cryptocurrencies, and that is the internet, the fiber optic systems that connect all that is of the Internet of Things. The trunk lines, especially. And the reason that I bring up the trunk lines is this. Not a lot of people know about this. What is the J5? J5 countries host challenge aimed at fintech companies. What is the J5? The Joint Chiefs of Global Tax Enforcement is the financial version of Five Eyes. And I'm going to read a little article that just came out in March of 2021 that explains a little bit about what J5 is up to. And I'm going to touch on the United States and what it uses in conjunction with the J5 structure, and try to explain how they're tracking the transactions. It's not just through the SWIFT network itself. If you're familiar with the SWIFT network, that is one of the main systems used by all financial institutions to do transactions globally. There are ripples happening within that system itself as we speak with Russia and China. And I believe it all has everything to do with each other at this time. So, the Joint Chiefs of Global Tax Enforcement brought together investigators, cryptocurrency experts, and data scientists in a coordinated push to track down individuals and organizations perpetrating tax crimes around the world this week. The event, known as the Challenge, includes experts from each country with the mission of optimizing data from a variety of open and investigative sources available to each country. Open and investigative sources available to each country, including offshore account information. Using various analytical tools, okay, just bookmark that one, analytical tools. Members of each country were put into teams and tasked with generating leads and finding tax offenders using cryptocurrency based on the new data available to them. Based on the new data available to them through the challenge. The new data. This is very important as far as this new what the new data is they're talking about. I'm going to skip over real quick to show you what I think the new data is and where it comes from. And that is this right here. This is the Treasury Department's TFIN tool, for short. It's Treasury Foreign Intelligence Network. Originally, they said that it was created to fight counterterrorism. Anybody that knows anything about agencies within the government, surveillance agencies specifically, know that if you put the counterterrorism moniker on it, then it immediately gets included in major agency networks. So the TFIN system is the department's only sensitive compartmented information level system that receives and stores information used for daily intelligence analysis. That's important. Daily intelligence analysis. This is real-time stuff. Okay, also back to the sensitive compartmented information level system. That's a SCIF. If you go back and you remember everybody talking about the Russian collusion and the spying, they said that there was an unknown SCIF system that was being used to track the movements of certain individuals, track their actions. I personally believe this is one of the SCIF systems that was used to track that. This is how they knew Manafort was laundering money. This is their shtick right here. If it's got anything to do with money, here's your boys. So anyways, the system enables analysts to provide critical insights into the threats to economic stability in countries, regions important to the U.S. I'm going to repeat that. The system enables analysts to provide critical insights into the threats to economic stability in countries and regions important to the U.S. Why is that so important? Let's go to the screen and let's hear what Jen Psaki has to say about threats.
We are watching this very closely, because, as you kind of touched on here, the Ambassador Bridge is Canada's busiest link to the United States and accounts for about 25% of trade between the two countries. And so the blockade poses a risk to supply chains for the auto industry because the bridge is a key conduit for motor vehicles, components, and parts, and delays risk disrupting auto production. We are in close contact. We've been doing a great deal of work on this. Liz Sherwood-Randall, our Homeland Security Advisor, convened a meeting just today. We're in very close contact and coordination with the Custom and Border Protection Team and Canadian counterparts, Michigan Governor Whitmer, and industry stakeholders. We are also monitoring very closely and engaged with auto companies on what the impacts could be of auto parts, which is what would come from Canada, and the impact on the United States. We're also tracking potential disruptions to U.S. agricultural exports from Michigan into Canada. There are a number of steps that we have proactively taken, I should say. The Customs and Border Protection Team, they've worked with Canadian counterparts to route traffic from Ambassador Bridge to Blue Water Bridge. There's still a lengthy delay, but it is enabling some of these trucks and transports to get through. They also opened all 9 commercial lanes, including a fast lane at the port to process diverted traffic, and they're working closely with relevant automakers and other public and private sector stakeholders to discuss alternative processing. So we're working to ensure there's movement. We support peaceful protest, but we have concerns when those protests turn violent, and certainly I think it's important for everyone in Canada and the United States to understand what the impact of this blockage is, potential impact on workers, on the supply chain, and that is where we are most focused.
So they framed it to where that gives them every reason in the world to use this system because it's a threat to national security. It's a threat to the logistics, the supply chain of the United States and of Canada. So Canada is part of the J5 system. I should have listed the members of that. It's Canada, Australia, the US, the UK, and the Netherlands. And if you look at the trunk line layout of fiber optics throughout the ocean and where certain trunk line coastline installations are, then you'll start to understand the significance of that. I'll cover that later on, but I really wanted to focus on this TFIN system that the Treasury Department uses to track this back to so the system enables analysts to provide critical insights into the threats to economic stability in countries, regions important to U.S. interests and policy objectives, and to assess financial vulnerabilities, impact of sanctions, and threats to critical financial infrastructure. Program management goals will be achieved by ensuring reliable, secure, efficient, effective, and technologically current IT infrastructure and software applications. Progress towards these goals will be measured through diligent monitoring of meaningful cost schedule performance metrics focused on supporting the Treasury's intelligence mission. This is 2008, just so you know, understand where we're at now. It's 2022 now, so they've had numerous years to expand this system. Back when I first started reading about this and understanding what this system actually was, as far as I knew, there were maybe 130 individuals who had access to this system. I'm sure that has expanded greatly. Here's something I found recently that I really wanted to share. The purpose of the Treasury Foreign Intelligence Network TFIN system is to assist Department of the Treasury analysts in their ongoing efforts to provide meaningful intelligence to senior management as well as to other agencies within the community, the intelligence community. Currently, the users of the TFIN utilize information provided via cables as well as from multiple data repositories not readily accessible with a user configurable federated query capability. Let's go back and read that again. The users of the TFIN utilize information provided via cables as well as from multiple data repositories not readily accessible with a user configurable federated query capability. Okay, so this means that this is upstream from most of the intelligence agencies. I would say probably, if you looked at it, if you understood the importance of money in their whole structure, it's probably upstream from NSA. NSA shares their intelligence with TFIN across the board, but TFIN doesn't necessarily share everything they have with the NSA. Does that make sense? So currently the users of TFIN, TFIN operates at the TS SCI level, top secret or SCIF level. Okay, so that right there just tells you where this is operating at and who has access to this information. I would love to see a list of the people that have access to this information, because that would give us a list of the players right across the board. Do central bank owners have access to this information? I would like to know. This question's never been asked as far as I know. And the reason I bring this up is because there's an unknown little fact about the transactions between domestic central banks of the US and foreign central banks, and that is this. There is no oversight of the transactions between domestic central banks and foreign central banks from the GAO. That's the General Accounting Oversight Committee of the federal government. They are not allowed to access that information. It was deemed back in the 70s that it would be giving them too much political power to be able to conduct oversight of those transactions. And this is something I stumbled across a while back, which started making me wonder, well, there's no way that they're allowing these transactions to go without any type of surveillance or oversight. Somebody wants, not only wants to have this information, but somebody has to have this information. The central bank owners themselves, they're going to want to know if anybody's playing any currency games. So that gets back to the SWIFT network and who has access to this top level information. I'm going to dig as deep as I can on this to find out. But back to this little gem. Users conduct activities over TFIN in order to execute their operational responsibilities. Such a broad, vague term right there. And meet executive order, legal, policy, and regulatory mandated requirements imposed on the Department of the Treasury. Executive order. Back to that. Anything goes, wild, wild west these days as far as executive orders go. But we don't want to make anything too politicized now, do we? The TFIN environment is being modernized through a two-step process that involves stabilization of the existing system through an upgrade of the current infrastructure, followed by a system enhancement initiative to provide expanded tool sets for the analysts to perform their duties more efficiently and effectively. Would love to see a list of those expanded tool sets. As part of the department's expanding role in prosecuting, cue the drama music, the War on Terror, TFIN has grown well beyond the original user community within the Watch Office. The TFIN redesign will enable the system to take advantage of new technologies and capabilities and significantly enhance Treasury's ability to exchange information with the IC and other entities. Back to the broad, vague terms. Now, this is why I said bookmark that earlier phrase I said about analysts sharing the information with IC agencies and other partners. Now it's become other entities. This comprehensive modernization of the TFIN will provide an increased analytical toolset, enhanced ability to share data warehouses with other IC organizations, and provide a robust and modular infrastructure capable of growing with the mission. enhanced ability to share data warehouses with other IC organizations. That goes back to my suspicion that they are upstream from most other agencies. Back to this little operation, the challenge. The challenge was first hosted in 2018 by the Fiscal Intelligence and Investigation Service in Utrecht in 2018 and brought together leading data scientists, technology experts, and investigators from all J5 countries in a coordinated push to track down those who make a living out of facilitating and enabling international tax crime. The following year, the U.S. hosted a second challenge in Los Angeles focused on cryptocurrency. Quote, while a great deal of preparation goes into these events, the challenges are by no means a rehearsal for us, said Jim Lee, Chief IRS Criminal Investigation. As evidenced from the last couple of years, these challenges result in real enforcement actions taken by the J5. Okay, so this is not like an Event 201 scenario where they're just wargaming out a situation. This is real life action that results from these challenges. They serve as an opportunity to continue to share information and further develop leads, but they also jumpstart investigations. So these 5 countries, they get together, they pool numerous data sets, analytical tool capabilities, data warehouses, all of this information, and they probably have AI programs that go through and collate certain search terms and connect the dots for them and just bum rush anybody who's not towing their line. This gets back to these definitions, these new definitions they're using. I should have thrown up a tab regarding the new definition by DHS of what domestic terrorism is, because just off the top of my head, I believe that that's somebody who posts online information that undermines the trust of the government. Is what I'm saying right now that? I mean, is that where we are? We watch what's going on in Canada right now with Justin Trudeau, literally handing down decrees that override every single letter of their charter constitution as far as what residents have the right to do. They no longer have the right to legally protest, as far as I can tell. So this year, the challenge focused on financial technology, fintech companies. Fintech companies invent new and innovative financial solutions, mainly making use of the digital opportunities the internet offers. Many fintech companies develop and market new financial products and payment possibilities like cryptocurrency, payment processing platforms like PayPal, crowdfunding loans, cue the GoFundMe and the Give Send Go, and insurance. I haven't even delved into the insurance aspect of any of this yet. With these products, fintech companies are competing with large traditional financial institutes like banks and insurance companies, and profits in the billions of dollars are not unheard of. And so this gets back to what's their agenda on this? Well, let's go back to the new law that was just passed for reporting transactions on PayPal that are greater than $600 annually. If I remember right, I should have had that tab up too. I apologize. I'm doing this kind of a hurry today. I had quite a bit to do before I got to this, but I didn't want to put it off anymore because there's so much going down. But let's go back over this real quick of what I just read. So companies like PayPal, companies like GoFundMe, and Give Send Go, these all companies like Kraken's cryptocurrency, Coinbase, all of these, any company that's signed up to be regulated by the financial industry and financial authorities of the J5 are going to be affected by this challenge. In a fast changing digital world, the J5 also must adjust and change, said Niels Obink, General Director of FIAD, during this challenge. Experts have worked hard to focus on the legal opportunities countries have to start J5 investigations aimed at fintech companies. Experts have worked hard to focus on the legal opportunities countries have. What does that mean? Legal opportunities. Well, let's try and go farther ahead here and see if we can put that together with what they have to say about lawyers. Many fintech companies have adopted compliance regulations and are partnering with governments and law enforcement in prohibiting financial crime. However, due to the online nature of the products, the novelty, and the lack of regulation and compliance in some areas, the fintech industry can be used by tax avoiders and money launderers to commit crimes. Well, I'm sure that all of those upper level government officials who have offshore banking accounts, especially through the Bank of England or Chinese banks or many other foreign institutions that our government has no congressional oversight over, aren't worried because they're part of one group while we are part of another group. They are not going to get their transactions gone through with a fine tooth comb. I guarantee you, Nancy Pelosi is never going to be investigated by the TFIN system. If anything, Nancy Pelosi's transactions, if they were covered by the TFIN system, are used to keep her in line, saying, we know exactly what you've done, and you're going to do exactly what we tell you to do. So this year, the J5 Challenge was held virtually due to the COVID-19 pandemic. While international collaboration of this magnitude benefits from in-person interaction, the team was able to engage with each other through virtual platforms. Because of the virtual nature of the event and the time differences between the countries, the challenge was split into multiple phases. In the first phase of the challenge, legal experts of the 5 countries discussed the fiscal, compliance, and criminal options that each country had regarding fintech companies. So phase 1 is the financial lawyers, all right? These are the people that make this world go round, all right? If you go to the big 4, right, KPMG, Waterhouse Price Coopers, Ernst & Young, and one other that I can never remember, you look at their top level lawyers, and these are the people who know what's going on, okay? I guarantee you that every single one of those accounting offices had their lawyers present in this operation. They're never going to tell you that, though, but I'll explain why I know this for a fact. Because KPMG is the accounting firm that conducts the audits on the Federal Reserve and the Department of Defense. So if anybody has the books, the real books, it's a company like KPMG and their lawyers who handle all of this. So I guarantee you they're present at this. That's a lot of power. So where am I here? Oh, compliance and criminal options that each country had regarding fintech companies. During the second phase, the 5 countries developed a list of specific companies where leads suggested criminal behavior. This is real-time stuff, okay? So they're getting together their legal experts, right? They're going to create a target list of specific companies that will be a part of their investigations, okay? This is like top-level mafia thugdom going on here because there's no oversight of this whole agency that's going on. There's real no oversight. If you are a threat to their political power and structure, If your company does not follow their line, like let's say the GoFundMe didn't freeze out the trucker funds when they were told to, boom, they're on that list all of a sudden. This is my concern about this, and this is why I want to do videos regarding this stuff, because this has all become, I mean, everything is saturated with politics now. There's no there's no free space anymore. It's all saturated. What's Ryan from TLAV? What's that word he always uses? Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. Fine. Now I got that problem. Darn it. So this year's challenge followed a virtual February meeting of all five J5 chiefs, where each country reiterated their dedication to the alliance. Reiterated their dedication to the alliance. Hugh James Evan Pilato expressed excitement about the operational results to come. Yeah, I'm sure they did express excitement about the operational results to come. I bet you they were craving in their freaking pants. In early March, the chief executive officer and an associate of Sky Global were indicted on charges that they participated in a criminal enterprise that facilitated the transnational importation and distribution of narcotics through the sale and service of encrypted communications devices. Earlier this week, a 10-count indictment was returned by a federal grand jury in Brooklyn, charging Jason Peltz with securities fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, and a variety of other offenses. Both cases were worked under the umbrella of the J5, the whole umbrella of the J5. I mean, we're talking. And if they set their sights on any corporation, any individual, that individual is going to be hard pressed to mount any type of legal defense uh, in the long run against them. They will literally be able to bankrupt anybody anytime they want with this type of firepower. The J5 was formed in 2018 after a call to arms from the OECD Task Force on Tax Crime, and has been working together to gather information, share intelligence, and conduct coordinated operations, making significant progress in each country's fight against transnational tax crime. The J5 includes the Australian Taxation Office, the Canada Revenue Agency, the Dutch Fiscal Information and Investigative Service, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs from the UK, and the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation Division from the US. Now let's get back to that IRS Service Criminal Investigation Division. I seem to recall, I seem to recall this little nugget of information given to us not too long ago about the IRS hiring 87,000 new employees over the next decade. To what? They said to police the tax avoidance schemes of the very rich. I find it hard to believe, just like everybody else. Why would you need 87,000 employees to police 1% of the population? I just, I don't see those numbers adding up. Let's get back to the Department of Treasury. Okay, there's a reason that I have this queued and I keep going back to it, but I'll get to that in a second. First, I gotta make sure that I covered all of this with the TFIN system, and that. Okay, I'm winging it today, guys. Bear with me, all right? Just bear with me. One of the things I wanted to cover is the Treasury Department has a habit of, within the TFIN system itself, they have a habit of hiring their personnel from a certain agency. I'm gonna query search real quick. Somebody who's been on my list of people to know. This is Leslie Ireland. Okay, she's now a member of the board of directors of Citi. No. Okay, so what did Leslie Ireland do? She was the. Did they change this on me? Okay. Oh my gosh, they did. They changed this on me, you little bastards. Hang on. All right. Former Assistant Secretary for Intelligence and Analysis, U.S. Department of the Treasury. That's exactly where the TFIN system resides, within the Intelligence and Analysis Agency. Okay. And National Intelligence Manager for Threat Finance, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Okay, this gets me to where I want to off ramp with this. And National Intelligence Manager for Threat Finance, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. So she's wearing two hats. She's at the U.S. Treasury in the TFIN system, and she's also working for the ODNI. All right. Now, why is this important? Let's cue Lisa Monaco. Who's Lisa Monaco? Well, right now, she's the United States Deputy Attorney General. Right now. So the DOJ, they've already got their pieces in place for all of this, guys. Now, the reason that she's so important is because not only was she a Homeland Security Advisor, all right, so she's got DHS, all right, she's now at the DOJ, and what she did back in 2015 was she made it possible. In the Homeland Security Advisor role, Monica was also President Obama's chief cybersecurity advisor. She drove the policy decisions to create the Cyber Threat Intelligence Integration Center. This is a fusion center between the Treasury Department and the ODNI, okay, in the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, right, to provide integrated all-source analysis of intelligence on foreign cyber threats and incidents affecting U.S. national interests, similar to the National Counterterrorism Center, okay? Now, why is this important? Let's go. All right. The Cyber Threat Intelligence Integration Center is a new United States federal government agency that will be a fusion center between existing agencies and the private sector for real-time use against cyber attacks. CTIC was created due to blocked efforts in Congress that were stymied over liability and privacy concerns of citizens. Okay, let's read that again. It was created due to blocked efforts in Congress that were stymied over liability and privacy concerns of citizens. Okay, so they're literally telling us right here on Wikipedia that the reason they were created was because they wanted to get around the privacy concerns of citizens. Okay, now it gets better. Okay, who is running this fusion center right now? All right, this is Erin Joe. Okay, and where is she at? She is also currently working for FireEye and Mandiant as their Senior Vice President of Strategy and Alliances while she's in this position. Okay? So she is working at FireEye. I can't even begin to start to cover all of the different events that FireEye has been involved in throughout the last 3 or 4 years. And she's working there, and she's also working in this government agency, in this fusion center that has on tap the TFIN system and the ODNI. Okay, so this is really becoming the wild west as far as all of this goes. I want to cover more of this. I want to go back and I want to start laying out the trunk lines of the fiber optic system, and I want to keep an eye on what happens with the cryptocurrency. Like I said, my understanding of cryptocurrency and tokens and NFTs, peer-to-peer transactions and regulated crypto finance, I mean, it's very close to zilch, and it's something I have to learn. I've been talking to a couple of people. Hopefully I can get them on the show and we can do some in-depth research on all of this and cover some more bases, because I love to learn from other people and what they know. So I'm going to sign off with this, but I want people to be aware of these structures and these mechanisms that are already in place, these agreements globally that are already in place. I want to start pointing out these players that are already involved with all of this. They're already in place. Okay, they are already ready to go. As far as this, there's not going to be any internal investigation of any improprieties committed by any of these agencies. That's not going to happen. They have the ball and they're going to run with it. So it at least helps for people to be aware of what is not being talked about. When have you ever heard of any media organization cover the TFIN system inside the Treasury Department? No. I mean, I haven't. So I'm going to sign off now. My name's Dale. It's good to meet you guys. I hope to talk again soon. I'll see you all on the TLAV server and TLAV chat rooms where most of us meet and hear